So what do I mean by a perfect distraction? Perfect distraction. Well, a perfect distraction would be, of course, Nancy Pelosi and insider trading. You don't have to take my word for it because Nancy Pelosi was caught off guard in real time, 4K, about talking about how Trump is going after congressional insider trading. We've talked about this before.
But let me just read what he said. I'm sorry that we had some sort of technical issue. Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agree.
Look at that. The face of, we're supposed to talk about Medicaid. You think Nancy Pelosi cares about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, child support, a woman's right to choose, other social safety nets?
But let me just read what he said. I'm sorry that we had some sort of technical issue. Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
But I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the stop the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong.
Whoa, you were against that? I remember numerous press conferences where you said, "Hey, it's capitalism, baby." Am I losing my brain here? No, I remember something a hell of a lot different, Nancy.
They are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider. But the president has his own exposure, so he's always projecting. And let's not give him any more time on that, please. We're going forward here, and I'm very proud of my family. And while he might make fun of us, while somebody inspired by him breaks into our home and hits my husband in a deadly fashion, hits my husband over the head, and he thinks that's a riot, I'd rather not go into some of my other complaints about him right now, rather to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid.
She doesn't want to talk about insider trading. She doesn't want to talk about what her and her husband have allegedly, supposedly have done, right? Even though if you go to Unusual Whales, just want to throw this out here for Unusual Whales. You know that Nancy Pelosi and all the members of Congress are doing all sorts. And even, yes, Dr. Nick says, "Where's my wine? Where is it? Where's my wine? Where is it? Where's my wine?" Here you go. Here you go. Look at this. Portfolio gains. If we just click here, why, goodness gracious. You see all these people. Now, she's not number one, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In 10th place is Nancy Pelosi. Weighted percentage change of Congress portfolios in 2024. I just released a full report of Congress trading in 2024. Like every year since 2020, some U.S. politicians beat the market. From the start of 2024 to the year end, many had unusual trades and huge portfolio gains. So booyah, booyah, booyah. Look at that. Look at all these gains that Congress is making. They're making so much money. This year, Democrats beat their Republican counterparts. Democrats were up 31% and Republicans plus 26%. Look at that. Look at all the unusual trades. You got MTG saying it ain't so, MTG. You got all these people. Many in Congress made huge gains alongside a record S&P 500 year. Here's a chart of all members' portfolios at the end of 2024, even those with small portfolios. Wow. Much wow. Look at that big, huge stock trade, man. And it's almost very similar to what happened in 2023 and, dare I say it, in 2024. Wait. Also 2022 as well. Sorry about that. Mine skipped for a second. But look, Trump, I think was trying to cover up or make people forget about Epstein, is decided to bring up something else that's rather fascinating. Now, I look at this as a distraction, but to see Nancy squirm is pure gold.
I like it conceptually. And, Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see I study these things very carefully, and this just happened. So I'll take a look at it. But conceptually, I like it. And what I do think is Nancy Pelosi should be investigated because what she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, save a few. And how did that happen? It happened by she knows exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced. She buys stock, and then the stock goes. I like it conceptually. And, you know, Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see I study these things very carefully, and this just happened. So I'll take a look at it. But conceptually, I like it. And what I do think is Nancy.
Now he is repeating himself. Conceptually, he likes it. Great, great, great. But also, that means also his colleagues. But I want to rewind back the clocks. Remember when Nancy Pelosi said this?
Should members of Congress and their spouses be banned from trading individual stocks while serving in Congress?
No, I don't know to the second one. We have a responsibility to report in the stock on the stock, but I'm not familiar with that 5-month review. But if people aren't reporting, they should be. Because this is a free market, and we're a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that.
So in other words, free market society, free market, free market. That was her just a couple of years ago. Nancy, I had so much faith in you. Let's go ahead and hear a little bit more from Donald Trump. Let me play the rest of this video here.
Nancy Pelosi should be investigated because what she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, save a few. And how did that happen? It happened by she knows exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced. She buys stock, and then the stock goes. I like it conceptually. And, you know, Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. So in that sense, I'd like it, but I'd have to really see I study these things very carefully, and this.
So there you go. That's the president of the United States. I think that video was on repeat. So there you go. But let's go ahead and move on to our next segment. Sorry about that if there was a little bit of confusion. I was just wondering what was going on with the audio and video, but apologies for that, folks. But there's a little bit more because all this profiteering is being revealed. All of the profiteering is being revealed by these elected law officials, including our wonderful friends in Congress. But before that, look, it's almost like
all lies will be exposed.
Absolutely, even in 2025.
Chairman Paul, let me just say that we have an opportunity here today to do something that the public has wanted us to do for decades, and that is to ban members of Congress from profiting on information that, frankly, only members of Congress have in the buying and selling of stock. 86% of Americans say that members of Congress should not be able to buy and sell shares of stock, individual stock, while they are members of this body. And they are absolutely correct. And the reason is, you can see it, there was just another ethics referral in the House last week. We've seen the former Speaker of the House make millions of dollars in profits. We've seen members of both parties, I'm sad to say, be investigated for their stock trades. And the reason for all of this is that, quite frankly, members of this body are privy to information that the normal person just is not. Now, is that insider trading? It is not under the laws. Sometimes people say, well, we already have insider trading laws. We don't need a stock ban. Well, the information that members of Congress are privy to is technically not covered by the insider trading laws, but nobody really believes that the information that we get isn't valuable. It is quite valuable, which is why back during COVID, you saw members of Congress of both parties engage in a flurry of stock trading right after they were getting COVID briefings. Were members of the public getting those briefings? They were not. Were members of the public privy to the kind of information that was being given to members of Congress? No, they were not.
Oh, that sucks. I want to pull this up here too. A little bit more. A little bit more.
I had a good chat with the president earlier this evening, and he reiterated to me he wants to see a ban on stock trading by people like Nancy Pelosi and members of Congress, which is what we passed today. I think it is absolutely vital we put a stop to this. Pelosi shouldn't just be investigated. She should be prosecuted. And we need to make what she is doing and other members of Congress is doing illegal. I mean, you shouldn't be able to go up to Congress and get rich by trading on information that only you have and not members of the public. Right now, lots of members of Congress are getting by with it. We need to make the whole thing illegal.
So when you spoke to the president, did he explain why he called you second tier?
Well, I think that the president, a number of people who are opposed to banning stock trading had said to the president that he would be covered by the bill. He'd have to sell Mar-a-Lago and sell assets. Not the case at all. The president and the vice president, all their assets are totally exempted. And here's the point. This is what we talked about. The point of this bill is to ban members of Congress from trading on the information that only they have. I've supported this bill for years, Jesse. I think we call it the Pelosi Act. It is named for her because she is the poster child of this kind of behavior. It ought to be illegal and it ought to be prosecutable.
Prosecutable. Now, do I see Congress ever prosecuting any of these people? No, absolutely not. That's not going to happen. But a little bit more into this. A little bit more into this. Oh, my goodness. Come on. I can't be choking up right now. Can't be choking up. Just a little more for you folks.
Day, Nancy and Paul Pelosi made a whopping $38 million in stock trades. The question now is how and why? Now, obviously, Paul Pelosi doesn't serve on Capitol Hill because he's married to former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. They're required to disclose their collective stock trades. And Paul seems to have a real knack for it. On December 31st, 2024, he sold $24 million worth of Apple stock. And on the same day, he also sold $5 million worth of artificial intelligence computer chip maker NVIDIA. Stock was 138, so Pelosi sells $5 million worth of stock. Today, less than a month later, it's closed at 118, a 13% drop since Pelosi unloaded. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Apparently, the stock trading prowess of the Pelosi family is so widely known that there is an X account called the Nancy Pelosi Stock Tracker.
We follow them.
Close to 900,000 followers can keep tabs on what the Pelosi's are buying and selling, presumably in order to copycat their own way to financial success. And that could be making the Pelosi trades have even more of an impact on the market. Nancy Pelosi's been asked a number of times over the years whether members of Congress and their spouses investing in the market is a sort of conflict of interest. This is from 2021.
Should members of Congress and their spouses be banned from trading individual stocks while serving in Congress?
No, I don't know to the second one. This is a free market and people, we are a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that.
Some fellow
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness gracious, Cretaceous. But see, here's the issue that we're all seeing here right now. And I want everyone to understand this. While it is great to see Nancy Pelosi squirm, it is great to see her say, no, we're supposed to talk about Medicaid. Oh, now you want to talk about Medicaid. Oh, now you want to talk about, the social safety net. Oh, now you want to talk about this and that and the other. Now you want to talk about what's affecting working class citizens. Now you want to. See, now it's okay for her to do that. But I want to pull up something else here too, because this is something just a while that was uploaded. I think it's important because we need to talk about Nancy and just how she is able to succeed. Her and her husband are able to succeed in doing a lot in regards to earning a huge profit. Let's play this video.
I don't know why nobody is talking about this, but since I reported that Nancy Pelosi bought shares of Tempest on MLK Day, shares of Tempest are up 117% in just 17 days. Now, what's crazy about this is that she's actually up even more, because if you remember the video, she didn't just buy shares of Tempest. She bought call options, which give her even more leverage. What that means is she isn't just up 117%. Looking at the data, we can see that her original investment of $75,000 is now worth $235,000, a 213% gain since we disclosed it a couple weeks ago. Trades like this are exactly why I tell people that until they outlaw trading in Congress, they should be checking QuiverQuant every day to see exactly what stocks members of Congress are buying and selling. Because at the end of the day, they have access to information that the public doesn't, which gives them a huge edge in the market. Good luck, and until next time.
Don't you like it when there's all that fun insider edge that's happening? Stuff that obviously, if any of you ever even tried to replicate what Nancy Pelosi or any other member of Congress does, you guys have never seen the light of day ever. Okay, like the long arm of the law, the jackboot, the hammer, the club to the face, hell, the gun to the face. It's going to crush you. It's going to destroy you. And that's just what is to be expected from our neoliberal corporatist system, in which we have no say, no power, no influence. But Nancy's squirming about this. Why is Trump doing this now? Well, of course, you need something for the news cycle. On the one hand, yes, I don't want Congress to do insider trading. On the other hand, too, like a nice little distraction. Ignore the Epstein files. Ignore the Epstein files. What's going to get the blood in the water, to get the sharks, to get anyone that's diehard Democrat or diehard Republican ready to feast and focus on something else, and that is going after Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats or anybody else that's doing insider trading. Change the narrative, control the narrative, manipulate the narrative. It's all a distraction to avoid the bigger question. Epstein. Now, I want Congress to stop doing insider trading, but I've been in this business for 8 years. You are not going to look me in the eye and tell me that this isn't a distraction. Transgemini, you have stated, we are ruled over by criminal sociopaths. Very telling that God is on our currency. And Pelosi's husband is a financial genius. Simple as that. Lawrence, I know you're joking around. See, I know you're joking around. And, Phil Hiller, the Sicilian Message. No one wants to wake up with a horse in their in their bed, okay? All right? No, but nobody wants that. Tired of lies. They're all 6 sociopaths. All of them are nuts. All of them are insane. Hashtag abiding says distraction. And driving me Macy, and then it brings me back to Trump and the Epstein files. Absolutely. Absolutely. But see, this is what is to be expected when a narrative is not going in favor of the establishment. Because look, everyone's on the list. Everyone's on that list. But what good way to have, talking about a distraction, that is, you want to talk about stock trading. Now, everyone who's Democrat and Republican that I've spoken to, they hate insider trading. They hate that Congress does it, yet somehow the American people still keep on voting in these sociopaths. Brilliant job, my fellow Americans. We could be so much better if we choose to not keep voting for the psychos. So much better. Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we doing that? We should be so much better. But to see Nancy Pelosi squirm, I don't know. I'll accept it. I'll accept it just for this one point in time. I'll accept it because I think it's pure gold. I loved it. But I want to play a little bit more of the video here, just a little bit more of Nancy, because you'll notice she's smiling, and then the smile disappears. It disappears overnight.
Because Texas Republicans earlier today unveiled their highly anticipated map of how they would redraw districts in their state to basically flip 5 Democratic House seats, make them Republican. Under this map, for example, Democratic Congressman Greg Cesar's seat is completely eliminated. Congressman Henry Cuellar, Congressman Vicente Gonzalez's districts will be made more Trump-leaning. Now, Democratic governors, as I don't need to tell you, in places such as California, are vowing to fight this tit for tat. Do you support that? Should California respond with their own redistricted map to give Democrats more seats?
Yes, but before I go into that, let me just say that what you just described was the elimination of many minority seats in Texas. And that's unfortunate because the gerrymandering that they're doing is also undermining the diversity that we need to have in the Congress. As far as California is concerned, we would go to a commission. We have a commission-based redistricting. Instead of the gerrymandering that they're doing in Texas, we've had a commission that has drawn the lines in California. We would alter that a bit in order to pick up the seats that we need. It's not necessary if Texas doesn't do this, but the Texas redistricting and what the president has talked about in other parts of the country is indicative of the poverty of ideas that the Republicans have, and they have to resort to this kind of gimmickry. And
so, see, it all started It all started with the Texas redistricting. It all started with everything else. But here we go for the fun stuff.
Seem to be having some
His
sort
own
of
investments.
yeah.
No,
It
no, I
was.
mean,
Let me just read what he said. I'm sorry that we had some sort of technical issue. Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're
Well-
here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk
Yeah,
about.
but I
and
wanted
what
to.
that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous. In fact, I very much support the stop the trading of members of Congress. Not that I think anybody's doing anything wrong. If they are prosecuted and they go to jail. But because of the confidence it instills in the American people, don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it. My husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider. But the president has his own exposure, so he's always projecting. He's always projecting. And let's not give him any more time on that, please. We're going forward here, and I'm very proud of my family. And while he might make fun of us, while somebody inspired by him breaks into our home and hits my husband in a deadly fashion, hits my husband over the head, and he thinks that's a riot, I'd rather not go into some of my other complaints about him right now, rather to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid and Medicare. What a triumph, a great pillar of economic and health security for the American people.
Geez, so why don't we talk about forced to vote? Notice again how she was just panicking and swirling about it. And I wanted to play that video. It was a better, more clear audio version of that. Way to go. Way to go. All the insider trading is being revealed in 4K. And I love it. I love seeing these politicians squirm. But why is it now? Why is it now being brought up? See, it should have been brought up many years ago. Hell, I think everyone could agree that no one wants to see Congress get the easy cheat code pass in making more money. Because I'm going to speak for I'll speak for a lot of people. I wish we had those easy cheat codes to get all that money. But no, we can't. But Congress can. And yet people still keep voting for them. Wake up to reality.